Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's edition of National Matters. I am your host, Pastor Moses Chiluba, and in the studio tonight, I have a distinguished lady, Madam CHISHALA KATEKA, who is the president of the New Heritage Party. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, and good evening, viewers.
Madam, you are there leading this wonderful party. Two things that I've seen about this party. Your predecessor, Brigadier General Mianda, was a man of principles.
Yes.
He stuck to what he believed in.
Yes.
And did he pass on the mantle to you?
Yes.
That you should also carry on the same principles. What you believe in must be executed?
Yes. So I joined New Heritage Party in 2001. I was a founder member. And the reason I joined that particular party and not any is because of what you have just mentioned, that the leader of that party was a very principled man. They used to call him Mr. Integrity. And I thought we really need that sort of leadership in this nation, and that's why I joined that. So we've worked with General Mianda over the years. He's impacted us and imparted quite some knowledge as well as values. Yes. So the Heritage Party continues along that trajectory. Apparently,
I have known General Mianda from way back in the 70s. Because when my brother, Brigadier General Chiluba, married in 1979, the reception was at Brigadier General Mianda's house.
Oh, okay.
And we've come a long way.
Okay.
But growing up under him and seeing how he behaved in the army, the stories that you hear about him, people say, including the MMD when he was vice president, and just the principles that he carries in life. I've summarized, and I've always said to the people when we interact, even here, I've always called him a president who never was.
Who never was, yes.
A president who never was, because if Zambia had given General Mianda a chance to see the leadership, I don't know where Zambia would be today.
Yes.
And do you chat with him?
Not very often, because he retired and he wants to enjoy his retirement. So we don't chat often with him, but via the wife. Yes, yeah.
You see, those are the principles I'm talking about. There are some retired presidents in other countries, or some retired people who still have influence, you know, running of the affairs of maybe a political party and what. But once General Mianda said, I am through, he doesn't even appear in the public.
Yes, and he doesn't comment on these things. So when we do go and see him, he just says, I don't even know what's going on. You know, I've just, stepped back.
My wife and I have had the privilege to visit Brigadier General Mianda at his house in Makeni from time to time.
Okay.
When you ask him about this, he says, Pastor, to tell you the truth, I don't even know. I don't want to get involved because I've retired.
Yes, yes, yes. That's exactly what he says.
Yeah. Madam, tell the nation, I know you are the president, but run us through what you have achieved in life in terms of academics, where you have worked, because I want us to look at the state of the nation.
Okay.
And so when I ask questions, I want to know my boundaries.
Okay.
And the problem I have is that I don't send the questions to the people I'm interviewing.
Yes, yes.
And I don't ask them, what do you want me to interview you on?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I won't bother with my secondary and primary school. What's relevant, I think, is from university. I went to the University of Zambia and I studied economics. From there, I studied accountancy. I'm a chartered accountant. I'm a fellow chartered accountant. I worked for a long time with Deloitte, Haskins and Sells, and Deloitte and Touche. And from there, I started running my own firm. My father used to be an accountant as well. And those who were there in the old days will remember a company called KATEKA and Company. That was my father's company. I took that over and made it from an accounting firm to an auditing firm. I was the first lady to set up an auditing firm. I went into consultancy. I managed Kafue Textiles on behalf of government. It was the largest integrated textile company in sub-Saharan Africa. From there, I did...
You managed it?
I managed it on behalf of government because it was in administration. So I managed it. We came up with certain plans and tried to get it back, but the government were not able to inject the money that was needed to do that. From there, that's when I joined Heritage Party from Kafue Textiles, because at that time, that's when the MMD split into FDD, Heritage, and MMD itself. So I joined politics at that time in 2001. After the elections, we didn't go through. After the elections, I did some consultancy work for the World Bank as well as for government on the national economic diversification of Zambia. I then also did some work with, I took a sabbatical for 4 years after that. I set up an NGO called Youth with a Vision for Zambia because we wanted to deal with young adults and their mindsets, because the Bible says as a man thinks, so is he. And a lot of young adults, their mindsets are, we identified about 23 mindsets common to Zambians that prevent us from
23 mindsets.
About 23 mindsets, yes.
Have
that
you
we
offloaded those?
We went around the country speaking to young, we bought a bus and we were going and speaking to young people. And we did make an impact in some people's lives, you know, because it helped them. But I've still got those notes.
I am very interested. I think I'll speak to my wife so that she can find the time so that you can offload those mindsets.
Okay.
Because even though you haven't told me, I don't know. My own thought is that Zambia's mindset is that we are not achievers. We don't believe in ourselves that we can do that.
In Bemba, I would say Twali Sula.
Twali Sula.
Yeah. Yeah, so we did that for 4 years. We ran out of money. I went back to work. I became MD at Zamnet. That's where I first met you, I think.
Zamnet.
Yes, Zamnet. Yes. And after that, I retired in 2014 and I sat on a number of boards. I chaired the Competition Commission, I chaired Barclays Bank, I sat on Nico Insurance, and I chaired a number of audit committees, yes. And then stepped off all of those to go into politics.
My goodness. What a rich CV.
Thank you.
What a rich CV. I want to go back to what you mentioned, that MMD split. There was FDD, MMD, whatever, then Heritage Party and what.
Yes.
1984, when I quit Assemblies of God, because I'm Assemblies of God trained.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I quit to establish this ministry. At that time, we were called Para. And that these are para churches. Yeah, so a lot of questions I faced was, why do you split, especially by Pentecostal? Why do you split? Why do you want to do this? The challenge that I gave at that time, even now, was that I believe that God created me with a vision, and that vision is to impact the world and to set up certain things that I felt God was leading me to, and to help somebody.
Yes.
But when I was under Assemblies of God, the constitution at that time was so prohibitive. You can't invite this one. It's not a member of the Assemblies of God. You can't. I felt so caged.
Constrained.
So the reason why I quit, because I wanted to establish something that would help Zambia and the world at large. And it's yet coming, because we have seen the progress. Now, that is from the church point of view. But in politics, why are there so many
Political
parties instead of you just working with MMD, UPND, or FDD? Why are there political parties?
Varied reasons. I've identified, I think, 4 types of people that vie for leadership. There is this one who will say, so if Pastor Victoria can become a president, then I can also become a president. You see what I mean?
That's right.
So they look at someone else and they say, but if she can or he can do it, I can also do it. There is the second type who say, you know what, I've achieved so much in my life. I've established this. I have made so much money. I have. And those ones, CHISHALA fyokuba president. Okay? Then there's the third type who say, you know, I also want to make a name for myself. I want to have the power. It's about themselves. These 3 types of people are not going to help this nation. And unfortunately, a lot of people fall into this. And then hopefully the last type of person are those ones who know why they are going into politics, who have identified. So it's not these 3. It's about ego. It's about themselves. It's about what I can achieve. But there is this one who feels, you know what? Surely we can make a difference in this nation. Surely Zambia is capable of so much more than we are doing. Now, when you have these 3, they decide, I'm going to be president. Then they look for a message. This one has a message. Then they look for a platform on which to share the message. And that's the difference. Now, when you find these
3,
you cannot join those. You will be, if the way you were constrained there, because you see, God said to you, I need you to do this. And they were very specific. It's either...
He gave me the guidelines.
Yes, it's either you disobey him and stay under that umbrella, or you break out and start to walk in obedience with God. It's more or less the same in the political arena, because I firmly believe that God has got a plan for this nation. And there is a certain path that we must walk in order to achieve that, what God wants to do. And so if you take yourself to any of these, you will not achieve what God wants to achieve. Yes.
So I take it you are in this first group that has a message and you want to be president. Not because of what you have achieved because
No,
of
no,
this,
no, not at all.
but
Not
because
at
you
all.
have a message.
Not at all. It's because we have a message. Look, I've been looking at Zambia. I worked in Botswana, by the way, from 1990 to 94 for 4 years. When I came back, things were not bad. We had gone into MMD and things had turned around. And we saw that things were okay. Then they started to go down. So I started to pay attention. Why is this happening? Why are we getting to have problems? Not that the problems we have now, but, you know, relative. And that's when I started to take interest in Zambia as a nation. And I used to lead a lot of intercessory prayers, and so we would pray through, and we learnt a lot through the prayers. As we have been praying, God would show us certain scriptures about how he establishes nations and why he establishes nations. So, you know, he showed us, for example, study the book of Samuel, Kings, Chronicles, and you find in there are kings that did what was right and kings that did not do what was right. And when you have a king that does what is right before God, the nation prospers. So you don't seek prosperity, seek this right leadership, so that so that we can have that. So in Zambia, you know, all of us, you look at the people who get there and you're saying, okay, number toalamona, and you find that things are not improving. In fact, they seem to be getting worse. So eventually you also jump in and say, you know what, we need to make a difference. We can't, when we die, we cannot leave Zambia in the state that it is in. We must leave a heritage, which is where our name comes from, a heritage for our children and our children's children, because God has given us so much. Yes.
You know, President KATEKA, what you are offloading, it is very good for this nation. I've also seen one disadvantage in African politics. See, already in these few minutes, what you have offloaded, umuntu ukweta mano, kuti achita understand, are picking up one or two. But why is it that in politics, especially in Africa, let me not go to Africa, Zambia.
Yes, yes.
If you are in power, like President HH is in power, President Edgar Chagwa Lungu was in power, Nava Fiasha Baba Shaba Kaunda, everyone up to Fiashba Rupia Banda. You never criticize a leader. Once you say this is wrong, the people who are in that party, either relatives or cadres, they will insult you to the core. Why is it like that?
It's very unfortunate. In fact, I'm glad that you have asked that question, because I have been appealing to Zambians and I've been saying, Vane, let us stop this of supporting either this party or that party, and let us support what we are calling the Zambian agenda. If we don't do that, then we are lost. What do we mean by Zambian agenda? So CHISHALA KATEKA, as a party president, says something wrong. The people that support this president must not support me even when I'm wrong, if it's wrong for Zambia. We must support what is the right thing for Zambia, regardless of who says it, regardless. If your president makes a mistake, you must say, Apa penapa, we have made a mistake. If the president does well, we must say, you know, you have done well. For example, there are things that this current government have done which we didn't agree with. We tell them. But there are some things that they have them. I have a bereavement right now, and I missed the issue of the president from DRC coming in, that issue of signing that agreement, it's a good thing. That's what we are supposed. If we had been thinking like that all along, things wouldn't be as bad, because then we'll be speaking to Angola, we'll be speaking to DRC. Those are our neighbors. They have serious wealth. We have wealth. I mean, we should be helping one another. So we commend the UPND government for that, regardless of the fact that I'm New Heritage Party, because it's a Zambian agenda. And that's the way we need to begin to think. So Zambians, we need Yaliama mindset to Achilalanda. We need a shift in that area. Yes.
Well spoken, madam. What would you say to people who don't want to work together? Because madam, if President Kateka identifies whoever to a church very weak area, you are a president. In the national interest, you say, let's work together. We correct this. There are those people who are waiting for promotions. There are those who are waiting for promotions.
They'll kill you.
And those who feel, we are the founders.
Yes.
Any intruder will drive a spear.
It's a very complex thing, and this issue, this model of politics we have adopted from the West, in my view, is not the best model, because it's a winner takes all. So if the winner has people who are not as competent as the people on the other side, you will never ever take those people and say, let's use this, because these ones, you see, before this August 12 elections, we identified the issue of cadreism. And people would say, madam, what are you going to say about political cadres? I said, no, this is not political cadreism. This is financial. It's a financial problem. It's not a political problem. Why? Because the cadres, of course, the big parties were PF and UPND. And these are the ones that were fighting. The cadres in PF were getting, one, money that they had not earned. Two, they didn't have to pay taxes. Three, it was consistent. And four, it was a lot. Mamona, through the markets and the bus stops and whatever way. So these are people who have been there for 10 years eating, which is why they are in that party. They are eating. So now these ones come and they want to fight this. They are saying, Imwe, you've eaten for 10 years. It's now our turn to eat. That's all it is. It's a fight. You know, it's the same thing that you have in the States, you know, where they have gang wars. These ones are providing drugs, and then somebody wants to come and also start selling drugs. Then they'll kill each other because of that. So the reason why you saw those fights, which even became quite bloody, you know, they would, you know, hate each other, and blood would be coming. They would even kill each other. It's because of the money. It's as simple as that. So now we have people, because politics has become so commercialized. People join parties because they think omuntu alaya mukudyamo. Okay, so they don't join parties because of ideology. Okay, but you know, we can make a difference. They go there. A lot of people join politics because it's a means of ukudyamo. You know, so you'll find you give somebody and say twale shimpia kulua pula or ku is a western or southern province wula poshimo. You know, that sort of thing. Yeah, that's what happens.
As you have said, I think most of the people, they are into politics because of their stomachs. They may shout the loudest. They may, not just this UPND government, from Dr. Kaunda.
That's right.
I'll tell you something. I was privileged, President CHISHALA, to have a church member that I raised from school. Then he joined the politics. And one day he was given money to take on one province to go and campaign. When the man came home and he said, Dad, in the folk mishira kwa ya petro.
You see?
So Nato, oh, yeah, Petro, that's good. Then he says, come and see. I went there. The Benz he had, madam, kun mendarama, navashtantik.
Full.
At I'm going for campaign, one of the political party, way back. And so he says, Dad, natimishire kufika fuel for this 6 months.
No.
And I said, so, money, where have you gotten it from? Are you not going to account for it? God is my witness, speaking before God. I told him I can't take this money. Because if you can't account for it, the people who are suffering are Zambians.
Exactly.
How do you
handle so much money?
Buti ya isule. And story short, from Dr. Kaunda to now, I've seen people, like you said, those three who go into politics.
For that reason.
It's not true that they want to save the people. Some of them. Some of them are genuine. From Dr. Kaunda to this UPND government, it's not everyone who is saving the interest of the nation.
Absolutely.
Others are just going in there. But when you talk like I always talk, I tell people I'm as straight as Cairo Road. When you talk straight, you become a card. I don't know whether somebody understands that this is about the nation.
Yes.
Memorial Park, madam, there are brilliant people who have slept there. Leopards View, it has accommodated judges, chief justices, it has accommodated people. Where are they today? The people who nationalized Zambia, 1991. May their souls rest in peace. They've left.
Yes.
And we are here. So we don't think about the future. We think about ourselves. And this is the problem.
Yes.
How do we go around the nation to formulate a Zambia national agenda? Whether you belong to this or that, I've been wondering how we can put people together.
I think that we need to talk about it. I've talked about it. Hopefully there are people out there listening who will say, you know, this is the only way we will change, is when we have this Zambian agenda, and you will talk about it, and other people will talk about. We must talk about it. We must popularize it and say, Bane, this is the only way. The other thing that I believe is that the party that will change this nation is the party that raises money locally. That money must be raised in Zambia. I know it's difficult, it hasn't been done, because everybody will go and ask the NC, go and ask the Americans, go and ask the Russians or the Chinese. But if we can manage to raise money ourselves so that we own the party as Zambians, that is the party that will change this nation. Because all these parties who go and get money wherever, they have to pay. They have to pay back. Not when I say pay back, it's not necessarily paying back the money, but
you have to pay in kind.
In kind, and you start to sell the nation. That's what it means. Then you start making decisions that are against the Zambian agenda. That's what happens.
In America, madam, 1989, I was there for my studies in Chicago. And during the campaign, having Reagan and everything, one of the prominent things that I saw is that you cannot stand for a public office without declaring your assets, what you are worth. And they probe you to the core. How you got this, where you got this. Why is it that in Africa, it's a taboo to say, okay, I'm now PS. I've got kafamu pachisamba. So that nga twaisa mfuata na mkwata farm mu Cape Town. We'll calculate the years and your salary.
And how possible is
Why
it?
is it that in Africa it's difficult to declare the assets and how much you are worth? Especially here in Zambia.
I think these are the things that we should be working towards. We should be working towards those things, putting systems in place so that we self-regulate. And I think that people get away with it because of what you mentioned before, when you said that people will support their leader regardless. Whether they are wrong or they are right, they just support their leader. They are very party-oriented. But if people had the interest of the nation at heart, we would make sure that those things are done. Yeah.
I'm so grateful. I want to just thank the Lord for you. And at the same time, I want you to tell the nation why there is so much tension between politics and the politicians in this nation. For example, the trend that is now on where, and I've said this, the Anti-Corruption Commission and the DEC, these are just my thoughts. I don't know where they were when the PF people were committing, if at all, atrocities. Why were they not prosecuted? Once they leave office, now they are picking them one by one. Does this tell me that these who are here now will become untouchable until after they leave office? What is your take on that?
That is something that we have seen. It takes a special kind of person who will go to their boss or their pastor or their father, in church, okwebati mwalufyanya, their leader. It's not our culture. Our culture is informal. When they mess up, you don't tell them that you have messed up. And that is the problem that we have. So when the PF were in government, these people are interested in keeping their jobs. Mamona, it's self-preservation. So they will know something, but they will not, unless the top man allows it. If the top man allows it, then they will go for these people. And that culture just has to come to a stop. People must do their job regardless. But it can only happen if the man at the top sets the tone. The man at the top has to allow these people to do those things.
Investigations to go.
Yes, yes. You can't, even now, there are things that have been happening and they are nobody's talking about them. Nobody's talking about them. Why? Because they haven't been given that permission to act on what they know. So, I think that is the biggest fight we have against corruption, because we do selection application of the law.
There was a time in my talking, Madam KATEKA, in President Chiluba's government, I issued a statement that it's a pity that corruption is even found in the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Yes.
I was visited, I received a letter to justify that. And of course, I consulted the lawyers and they said, Pastor, it's time for you to make money. We've got corrupt cases of some of these leaders. Let them prosecute you, bring to light. And it just died a natural death. Because there are certain things, madam, God does not like people suffering.
That's true.
Me as a preacher, I can tell you, once you become president, the reason why God raised Moses in Egypt to deliver the people, because God said, I've heard the cries of my people. And God loves the widows, the fatherless, the strangers. These groups are close to his heart.
Yes, yes.
Now, when you become a leader, like you said about kings, some people just think it's about this one and that one, forgetting that there is a God.
Absolutely.
You know, so when such things begin to happen, like I've been saying, even before this government came into power, MMD, same thing. I said, please don't choose an MP or member of parliament. In MMD government, they labeled me a Kaunda man. I said, don't choose a person who has no pastor, who has no spiritual affiliation. Because if a person does not fear God, the nation cannot control him. They said, we work Kaunda. To today, my message hasn't changed.
It's the same.
Yeah.
That's true.
So as president of the Heritage Party, what are your mechanisms on ensuring that this government, the future governments, are accountable and looking at the plight of the people?
With regard to where we are now, we cannot control what is happening. We can only talk, and we have been talking. You know, where we feel we need to give checks and balances, we give those checks and balances. Sometimes we commend, sometimes we criticize the government because we are not the ones in there. And that's why it's called advise. You can advise. It's up to the person to take the advice or not. That's all you can do. What we have seen as New Heritage Party, and which we think is unfortunate, yes, the UPND government inherited a very difficult situation. It's a very, 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 very difficult situation that they find themselves in. Having said that, what concerns us is that they start to deal with the problems with these other things rather than the main thing on the table, which is the plight of the Zambian people. You were saying God doesn't like it when his people are suffering. So if we could have started there and then started to do these things, some of these are longer term. Yes, it might sound like it makes sense to start there, but at the end of the day, if Zambians are complaining a lot, they'll see the UPND as a failing government. So they should have come up with a plan. I mean, sure, you saw that press conference that the president held. And everybody, because the last one was in September. So we had so many questions, you know, of the things that had happened in between. And so a number of us had said, these are the questions we are expecting answers to. And one of them, of course, is the high cost of living. How is this government going to address this issue? And he barely touched on it. He touched on it, but we didn't come away with the, you know, that confidence of saying, oh, number to alarm on, you know, it's going to work like this, and it's going to, you know, take so many months, then we'll begin to see. No, there was nothing like that. They did not give people hope in that regard. And that is the biggest, it's what needs to be dealt with. You see, when one of the things you need to understand is, let's say this table is Zambia, okay? And you do all these tar roads, infrastructure, whatever, buildings, hospitals, etc., etc. But the Zambians are down there. You know, you've done development up to 98%, but Zambians at 2%. You have not succeeded. Because Zambia is about Zambians. And that's why we talk about the Zambia agenda. You are even better off doing a 50% development as long as you bring the Zambians up as well. You cannot leave the people behind. You focus on all of these things that you are doing, but you do not target the Zambians. Then you have failed. Because Zambia is about Zambians first and foremost, before anything else. People would rather eat and you know, life is easier, but they go on potholed roads. People would rather eat and take their children to school, yeah, and to hospital, have medicines in hospital. So we need to shift our focus of priority.
This leads me now to our main subject of discussion here in Zambia on this program, which is the national economy, Zambia's economy. Looking at 8 months in power of the UPND, on the scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the UPND?
I have constantly given them a 4.
4.
A 4. I've constantly given them a 4. Probably because of what I have just talked about, I should even bring it to a 3. Because at the end of the day, what people want to see is that their livelihoods are impacted positively. Like I said before, the situation the UPND find themselves in is extremely difficult. But in that difficulty, different people will respond differently to the same problem. You know, some people will look at it from this side, some from that side. Do you see what I mean? And what we are seeing is that this issue of the cost of living is not being addressed. I don't want to, I'm one of those, or at least New Heritage Party, we don't want to start saying, hey, you said this, you said you lower the shine. No. That is a done deal, you know. There were promises which have not been fulfilled. The UPND know what those promises are. The people know what those promises are. And they themselves know, we know, and the people know. So we don't want to waste time talking about it. It's as useless talking about the promises of the UPND as the UPND themselves talking about the PF. You can't carry on talking about, you know, this is oh, the PF didn't do this. You see, they did this. The time has come to start looking for solutions. And so, when we are looking at this situation, what is it that we can do better as a nation? We really must come up with solutions. We have to start asking a lot of questions. Why is the cost of living so high? Why has it gone up so high? So if this is bread, this is a loaf of bread. 1 year ago, this loaf of bread, the exchange rate was, let's say something that we import, we buy from outside to bring it in here. 1 year ago, the price of this piece of whatever it is, when the rate was 10 kwacha to, 10 kwacha to $1, this thing in Zambia cost 10 kwacha. Remember, the rate went up all the way to 23. At that point, this thing cost 23 kwacha. Now it's at 17. This thing costs 17 kwacha. Now, to a Zambian who's earning kwacha, elo salary taile chinja, you can say the price has gone up because we are importing. We are using dollars to buy this thing. And so it depends on, it's dependent on the rate of the. So if you can control the dollar rate, then you can control the prices of everything that we are bringing in. If you can manage to bring the dollar rate down, how do you do that? One of the ways I've been talking about is So we say the reason the dollar rate has gone up is because we are not exporting enough to earn enough dollars. I beg to differ. I don't agree. We export a lot. We export a lot by way of our minerals from the mines, our emeralds, whatever. We export a lot. But babalipila abroad, when they pay, let's say you sell $300,000 worth of copper, just as an example. That money is paid to you as a mine. It's paid to you abroad in the bank accounts there. Mamona. So what you do as a mine, you bring back money for salaries, which is not much. You bring back money for taxes, which is not much because you say you've been making losses. You bring back money for maintenance, which is not because they do the barest minimum. And you bring back money for suppliers. Again, you are paying them in kwacha, it's not much. And you leave the money out there. You see, if we looked at our policies and we started to bring that money here, for some time, we will see a big difference in our exchange rate because we've been exporting enough. But it's just that our policies are not user-friendly to us as Zambia. Our mining policy needs to be looked at. Yes, it needs to be looked at. I know people are saying, no, maybe we should increase the tax rate for the mines, but by how much can you increase it? And how much can you earn? Especially if they don't declare the profits that they should. Yeah. So when they sell, let's keep that money here for some time in their bank account. We're not saying to have a poker, no, to be in there. But the fact that there's a lot of dollars here will have an impact on the foreign exchange.
I'll ask you something on that regarding the taxes and everything. But Madam, as an economist, reading on this economics, I read this article. Zambia's annual inflation rate decelerated for the 9th straight month, okay, to 11.5 in April 2022. That is the inflation rate. Why is it that the inflation rate is going down? Would you educate me on this? I don't understand.
Yes.
In regard to what you are saying, that we are not exporting, but the annual rate, the inflation rate is going down.
Thank you so much. I think that question is extremely, extremely important, and I'll explain it in simple terms. So, according to the simple definition of inflation, is too much money chasing too few goods. So, too much money chasing too few goods. But if we reverse that, the inverse of that is that it's possible to have too little money chasing a lot of goods. So let's look at what happened when the UPND government came into power. Because when you think about it, if inflation is coming down, it should have an impact on our foreign exchange, our cost of living. But these haven't really. The only thing that brought the foreign exchange rate down is when China announced that they are going to join the creditors, during these IMF talks, and then the foreign exchange rate came down slightly, not much, and it might not even be sustainable. But here's what happened when the UPND got into government. As usual, you know how they call everybody a clique of thieves. You people, you were, there were a lot of shady deals. So we are going to freeze, to suspend payments to suppliers. Now, you know, the biggest employer in Zambia is government. The biggest off-taker of services and goods is government. So if you freeze all these suppliers, what happens? It means the money they were supposed to get and was supposed to go into the economy. So let's say you are a small-scale supplier to government. So you buy this table, you supply it to government. You've used your money, okay? You've used your money to put it into this table, taken it to government. Now you are expecting a profit to get what you put in plus a profit. Then that money doesn't come. So a market Jane down the line won't get the tomato you were supposed to buy, the shiny, all that stuff they won't get. So the money is tied up with government, which means there is not much money in the economy. That's why things are tough for a lot of people. Because Shirempia has been withheld. Yes, has been withheld. So as New Heritage Party, our advice to government was, why don't say all of you, Imwe, first touch the audit. For me, it doesn't really make sense, much sense. Why don't you say, here's a Piri, we want to pay him, but let's audit him. If he's cleared, pay him. Then you go to the next and like that. Why not do a phased approach? You know, start with some, as soon as you're done, pay them so that you get money to go into the economy. But at the moment, money is very, 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 very tight.
Because I've also heard the complaints that there are a lot of Zambian companies which are very good companies, employing a lot of people, but because they did business with PF, their money has been withheld for the past 8 months.
Yes.
Nothing has come out.
Yes. Now, because in the example where you took your money and you put it in the table so that you could supply to government, it means that even if they don't pay you this, you now don't have the money to buy another table because it's tied up. So companies are going down, and people losing their jobs because I now can't afford to pay you. Currently, nobody's paying me.
Oh, Jehovah, this has ripple effects on the economy then.
Yes, it does.
And by the special grace of God, one question that I have, Madam KATEKA, is that these are just things. When I sit as a pastor, I analyze, not that I'm an economist like you. When I look at Zambian companies that have not been paid, because maybe they transacted with PF. Suppose you investigate me and you find that I'm innocent. Then all these months have not been paid.
I would.
What happens?
I think that, especially if there was a contract, people will probably ask for interest. At least I think that people must, even people who are supplying to government now, must look at their contracts and make them watertight. You know what I mean? For future reference. Because we keep doing this thing. When this government comes in, they persecute the old ones. This one come in, they persecute these ones. We have to break that cycle. We really, really have to break that cycle.
And why is it that international companies which are run by Chinese, Asians, Lebanese, they are not in that bracket. They are still operating, and yet they've been dealing with one government after another, one government after another. Why are they not prosecuted?
Well, one can only assume that there is some money somewhere that is changing hands. You know? And that's, you see, this is what causes corruption. Because if I'm not being paid, then eventually somebody will go and start offering somebody a bribe and say, now issue, nangu wampela kofe 20,000, here's something. Do you see what I mean? So I think that our advice as New Heritage Party to the New Dawn government is that they need to work on this very quickly. Zambians are the ones who are suffering. It's Zambians who are suffering.
How would you empower Zambians, madam, if you were a president, without looking at the tribe, without looking at the people who insulted you, without looking at any of those things, how would you do it to empower the Zambians? Because here it's about Zambia. Yes. The more we have money in the economy, like you said, the more this economy will do well.
Yeah. So as New Heritage Party, we identified 3 very major sectors. SMEs, small-scale farmers, and mines. Mines, both large and small, can make a big difference in this nation. The SMEs, these are the majority of Zambians, you know, to my small business, they're everywhere. These are the, most Zambians are employed by SMEs. Most Zambians can go into small-scale agriculture. And these are low-hanging fruits. We would have put in more money in those 2 sectors. With the mines, we would relook at the policies to make them, you see, Zambia has not really benefited from them. From 1964, from before copper EAFE, and we are still poor like this. It's a sin. New Heritage Party, our message is that, you see, if this room is a Zambia, and all of this is the wealth that God left in Zambia, He left this wealth for Zambians. He put that wealth for Zambians. In Zimbabwe, He put that wealth for the Zimbabwe. You know, God is fair. For the Congolese, He's also given them their wealth. But the reason why Zambians are poor is because we have not had a leadership who recognize that fact, that this wealth belongs to the Zambians. So I always give this example that this table, Nikuchifunkana, and then underneath, on top are some of the poorest Zambians. Underneath is some of the greatest wealth in Zambia, in the world. The largest emerald mines, the best emeralds in the world. Ngawa Fokotola, they take those emeralds, they don't give them a single ngwe. Who owns that wealth? It's Zambians. But so if we had a policy where you sell your copper or you sell your whatever, you leave a little bit and leave it for the Zambians. You can have a wealth fund for Zambians. These young people you are seeing here, they are intelligent, they are very sharp. They've got good ideas, they are prepared to work, but they don't have an environment na kastata pakitapava. Mamona. One tool that you can use much better is CEEC, Citizens Economic Empowerment Commission. But
don't you think those organizations are more political than being fair? Because the CEC, the same organization, they've been complaints, government after government. I think the people access those since Madam KATEKA, she's the MD there, or she's the minister.
That's what
she writes a letter to say, please assist Pastor Chiluba. I will access that.
Yes.
Without a letter from you, there are a lot of Zambians with brilliant ideas
who have
never been helped from there.
That is very, very correct. And that's why I said the tone starts at the top. The tone starts at the top. Look, when somebody is caught doing something like that, what do? We transfer them from one ministry to the other. Or you send them in the diplomatic service. That's not punishment. We must begin to punish people who are corrupt. Make an example of them. We have to change. Look, we can only work with what we have. That is our road. That's what we can work with. That is the best institution that you can use. Just make sure that it is well funded and it is doing what it's supposed to do. All those what is that? DBZ, Development Bank of Zambia. All those, make sure they are working the way they are supposed to work. You know, one of the weaknesses we have is this issue of the president appointing people into those positions. No, let's put systems in place that work. Let the board appoint CEOs. You know, governance, let's get our governance right. So that we become accountable. Yes, we are doing so many things wrong even now. We are doing so many things wrong. Where you find this MD is appointed by the president, the board is appointed by the minister. So, if I'm
with
appointed,
the approval of the president.
If the president appointed me, and then my seniors are appointed by the minister, who's got more power? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Kumi tuangira, tienyuko, shan, you know? Yeah. We must get things right.
Talking about systems, President KATEKA, one of the things, you correct me if I'm wrong, one of the things that I think has contributed to be where we are is that there are no Zambian banks.
Yes.
What I mean is, Meridian BAO used to do very well. Okay, it was closed due to known reasons. Finance Bank was closed on political grounds. And if any Zambian wants to come up and say, I want a bank, first and foremost, which party do you belong to? And to say, if you are to bring this, we must know where you are going. Is that helping the country? Because all these banks, sorry to say this, you've been a banker. Barclays Bank, all these foreign banks, to some extent, they have to declare their profits where they come from, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So in our manifesto, we've identified that problem. And one of the things we talk about is the creation of a vehicle by which we can fund Zambians especially. It must be owned and should be able to fund Zambians, because without that, look, you can't start a meaningful business if you don't have capital. You must have a source of starter pack. There must be a source of finance, because without that, then we're not going to go far. This is a problem that has been identified year in and year out, but it seems the political will is not there. Yeah. You see, as you are doing your plans as a political party, you must have things that as soon as you come in, you start to work on them. I think that's why at the moment, people are complaining a lot about the UPND because they are not seeing Kayaka plan career. You know, they're not seeing it. The other thing is, I think Zambians are holding UPND to a higher level of scrutiny and accountability than they did the PF. I think people were looking at the PF, okay, 2026 guys. But these ones, they don't, they are saying, to go down that route. So when they do something, people talk a lot these days. It's because they don't want to go through what they went through. Yeah, but they want to see plans being effected of what they said they would do?
Yesterday, the president mentioned about the fact that some plans are short-term, some are long-term, and he brought out two things which he says UPND has achieved, and that is increasing the CDF and also free education. What is your take on that?
So let me start with free education. Free education, education is good, because what education does is it's an enabler. It enables people to do things. It opens people's minds. So where they could only see one way, they now begin to see choices, and it's an equalizer. You know, you might come from a poor family or a rich family, but with education, it helps you to get to where you're going. So if you can educate the whole nation, that is fantastic. Our view on the free education, the way it has been done, is it has been done in a rush. It has been done in a rush. Why do I say so? Because we've created a lot of problems with this free education. I mean, kids, 80 children in a class, 100 children in a class, that is a lot. So pupil to teacher ratio has been worsened. Some kids are sitting, you know, children are sitting on the floor. The quality of education is obviously not going to be on point. Even now, before the free education, our quality of education was really bad. You get a graduate at Lemba report, the person can't write a report. You see what I mean? So we feel that we should have fixed what needed to be fixed, and then started to expand from that premise. So we are of the view that we are not going to produce a good quality of education, and that is important. You know, I live in a compound, surrounded, and the children there, I was telling somebody that, you know, the children in Mumayadu, they are playing on their iPads and things like that, and they are learning. Kakolwe 1-1, Kakolwe 2-2. I don't even know what that means. Very uneducative games. Vaya ko school at 7, by 10 they are back playing games like that. You know? So we really need to relook at this issue of education, think through it, and begin to implement it so that we begin to produce quality people. Otherwise, we are just going through the phase. Number two, CDF. CDF, if CDF can work the way it should, it's a good idea, because you are taking development down to the people. Again, the UPND, I believe, rushed this process. New Heritage, we didn't think about increasing CDF to 25.7 million. But if we had thought about it, we would not have done it in the first year. We would have used the first year to build capacity. If you, Pastor Chiluba, are used to handling 100 kwacha, suddenly, naisa mipela 100,000. You know what I mean? So the important thing is take these people, train them, and make sure that they are capable of handling, and phase it. Start from 1.6. Maybe next year you make it 2.6. When they are able to handle that, you scale it up. That's why there is such a thing as scale. You just can't come, boom, marvelous at 25.7 million. You need to put guardrails. Otherwise, we are increasing the number of places where holes are in the bucket. You singa maitila mesh mu bucket yaitika mule ama holes. There are so many holes now where that money can be lost. And also, I know that the UPND gave 630,000 kwacha up to 28th of March Okay, so in a quarter they were supposed to give about 6 million something. So they gave only 630,000 kwacha. Then on the 29th, 30th, around there, they gave them an amount to bring it up to 80% of what should have been given in the first quarter. Boom. So I was asking myself, did they go to check that the 630 was properly used before giving them that other amount? You see, accountability is also very, very important. So if it can work well, it's a good move, but you have to make sure that it works well.
Before we go on break, Madam Kateka, when I was growing up, they were like the mines. They sponsored football teams. They took up social responsibility. Today, more companies are making money, huge profits, and they don't even give to communities
to
where
communities.
Like you are saying, Lumwana there, I don't know how much they give to the people, villagers and everyone. The companies that we see here making huge money, they are not giving back to society. Is that good for the nation? Or who should tell these guys, like in South Africa, I know for sure, and Ethiopia, you can't start a company there without pledging the amount of percentage you'll be leaving in the community.
Yes,
but here it's free for all.
The international companies, I know that for them, social responsibility is something that is expected of them. So in their own policies, they have it. But I think that it's something that our government can ask people to do in that regard if they are not doing it. Yeah, I think that they should be holding these companies and saying, where's your contribution towards their social responsibilities? Yeah.
Maybe just let me squeeze in this question. It's something that I asked my friends. Margaret Manakatwe, the former Minister of Finance, was about to introduce sales tax on everything that even the copper, everything, to replace it with VAT. And when that debate was going on, one of my friends overseas said, this minister is joking. You cannot allow an African government to introduce sales tax. There are some big people out there who will see to it that VAT remains.
Well, it happened.
What's your take on that? Because according to my friend, he said if Zambia introduces sales tax, you'll be a very rich country, but they will not allow you to do that.
Which is exactly what happened. So let me just explain the mindset that we have. I think you alluded to the fact that we look down on ourselves. So we'll not chart our own path. When investors are coming in, so if you are an investor and there's another investor being, we don't even have similar conditions for the different, we negotiate investments, the deals with you will be different from this one. And what we have been saying as New Heritage Parties, you know what, let's draw a line and say, let's define ourselves. Let's define what is it that works for Zambia. So what Margaret Manakatwe was trying to do is to do that, but then the big boys won't allow it. But why don't we step aside and decide who we are and then define our policies that we should have, that will work for us, our tax regime that will work for us. Yes, we want them to work to make money, but we also need to make money. And if we don't do that, we'll keep going round and round and round and round. And one of the first things that I think what we would do as New Heritage Party is to institute those studies and say, what is it that works for us? And you introduce it. Yeah.
I'm going to ask my director to just play our commercial of CAMNET TV, how big we have become, and how we are, you know, we are so grateful to God because Zambians now are watching what is happening overseas, and as a station we are so blessed to receive reports from Canada, USA, and around the world.
Okay.
But there is also an app, madam. There are some apps that we introduce that you can download. I must announce to the nation that by the special grace of God, the company that we deal with, they've developed another platform for us to be covered in the entire USA.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that's great.
We are becoming bigger by the day. And I would encourage those people that say, no, I have no electricity here, I have no what, they can download the WhatsApp platform and they can watch these programs.
Okay.
After that, the lines will be open. I don't know if my director already opened the phones so that the messages can load. My director just opened them. Thank you so much. Give us the advert. We'll see you after the break.
CAMNET TV is becoming big and better. You can now watch CAMNET TV wherever you are around the world, simply by downloading the CAMNET TV app. With CAMNET TV app, you only use less bundles. CAMNET TV, not just another channel.
They were not there when God created you.
Dear CAMNET TV viewers, welcome to this wonderful program, which is National Matters. Our lines are now open. If you are to discuss, please be progressive, and you don't have to demean anyone. You don't have to say bad things about President HH, this government. You don't have to say bad things about the previous government. I think let's build Zambia. Where are we at, and how do we go from here? In the studio, I have President of the New Heritage Party, President CHISHALA KATEKA, an economist, an auditor, and a lady that has got what it takes. She has 10 more pages, academic pages and professional pages, and she qualifies to be president. Let me ask you this question. With Zambia's mindset, when do you think we'll see a Zambian female president?
When they are tired of suffering. When Zambians are tired of suffering, they are going to say, you know what? Natweshe ko Namayo. Yes, because at least Namayo, they are very focused, they have a heart, etc., etc. So, yes.
And you being a Christian, you understand things from different perspectives.
From a very different perspective than the average politician. I could talk for hours on Zambia.
Yes. Let's pick up this call, the first call. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir, you are through to National Matters. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Good evening.
Good evening to you, sir.
I'm President KATEKA.
Good evening.
How are you?
We are permanently blessed, and may God bless you. Is this Dr. Mkandawile from Luanshi?
You've guessed well.
Dr. Mkandawile, please go ahead and contribute.
Yeah, number one, the issues you're discussing are pertinent and very important that we should be truly raising them every now and then.
Yes, sir.
The first one I want to talk about. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. The nation is hearing. Go ahead.
The first one is on the risk correction. As you rightly raised that question to President KATEKA, these people who are operating in these offices of corruption, you know, did they go to sleep when these issues they are raising now are being raised, you know? Because what I know is that professionally, these people should have resigned from those offices if they thought that they were serving under the regime where they were being oppressed. They should have resigned. That is the diplomatic way of doing things. But then you find that in this time, they begin to champion this issue of corruption. It doesn't make sense. The second one is on the CDF. The big bond to chew with CDF. You know, the pronouncements are saying that you can do anything in your ward or in your constituency using this CDF. And then what has happened is that you say if you want education, you can either build the sub-classrooms or you can do the roads in your constituency. But then it looks like we are mixing up things now because there are certain things or certain projects that should be undertaken by central government and then they are pushed down to the constituency or what? Because you see, if you look at this money, it looks so much on face value. But when you go down on the ground, see what you can do with this money in that ward or constituency, you will find that actually you cannot do much with it. And if you say you are going to build a school, then that money won't even build a school that year. It means you have to start building that school, and it will take years before you finish. So these projects, some of these projects actually should remain with central government. Let the small things are the ones which should be done by the constituency or ward, so that this money really makes sense. I'll give you an example. If you have to do a road, a third road in the township, you know that third road may cost 1 million per kilometer. But look at how much money is coming into the ward. Divide that 25, or simply maybe the 5 million that has come now, and then divide it by the number of watts. You find it comes to about 300 and something thousand kwacha. What can you do with that? You know, very, very little. It cannot do even 20 meters of the road. So this thing actually should be looked at again, so that when we are talking about this money waiting for the constituency, it must really do a good job. Otherwise, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mkandawire. Two things he has raised there, madam. The issue of corruption, that the officers should have resigned instead of them prosecuting the people now looking to be effective when they were in office then. And now we are yet to hear who they will prosecute, saving, and also the CDF. Yes, it says when you're doing the roads, that 25 million divided, if you are to do roads, you are to do hospitals, clinics, and what, 25 million is not enough. What is your say to Dr. Mkandawire?
He raises some very, very valid points. On this issue of corruption, Mozambique, we don't resign. You know, even if you catch me stealing, you have to tamfia me. I will not resign, because where am I going to eat? I think that is what is happening.
Nangupari evidence.
Nangupari evidence. Zikufana no. So it's very, very correct, but I think the problem boils down to the fact that we need to put in place an environment that will encourage people to act and do their job professionally. These people, the reason they keep quiet is because they are afraid of being fired. Of course, it's not the right thing to do, and they should have resigned, because now suddenly they are everywhere. What's this? You know, but I really think that leadership has a lot to do with it. The sort of leadership that you have will determine whether they can do what they ought to do or not. With regards to the CDF, I think he's being very practical. He's being very practical because so maybe the constituency and the wards should start with smaller projects before they go to the bigger projects, because I think that government at the moment is very stretched. I don't even know why I'm defending them, but they are stretched and they can't give them much more than that. But they can start to build up. When we were doing our campaigns, we went to Kaputa. And they've built a very good motel there, you know. Classy, I couldn't believe it. I said, yeah, man, they've so that they can generate money. So maybe that's the way people should, you know, they should plan that CDF, is to see how they can start generating money. If you recall, in the Chiluba days, we had houses, stock of houses owned by government and owned by the council before Bachiluba sold them. Those things were generating money.
Money, yeah.
Then when we sold them, the councils started to struggle. The councils can consider starting to build stocks of houses, you know, and begin to generate money. Because when you do projects, as soon as you get money, you do projects that are not going to generate money. This is what happened when the PF borrowed. They put money in things that were not going to generate money. And that's why we are in this problem. Yeah, so when money comes, find a way of making it have children and have children's children so that it's on a sustainable basis. Yeah. Even if you start small.
How do we participate as Zambians? I heard the president saying that whoever
All
has an
Zambians.
idea, all Zambians, if you have got something to talk about, please come and advise the government. And the people who make your diary, madam, are the ones who make things difficult. Because the moment he made that announcement, my wife and I were able to contact 1 or 2 people overseas to say, please come and invest in Zambia. But they can't come without your private secretaries opening up, and it becomes difficult to meet the president. What do you say to that?
Yes, it's very, very difficult. I think Ambassador Frank Mutubila asked that question and said, why is it so difficult to meet the president and the ministers? It's like they've closed ranks. So that's where the problem is. So people have got good ideas. They would like to push them through. But that ring around the president and the ministers, and also even when you do get to the ministers, look, I've lived in Zambia all my life. You have a good idea, you go and talk to a minister and you think they are listening. They're not interested. All they're interested, I'm not saying all of them, but they're interested in what's in it for me. What's in it for me?
Kind of.
What is the,
Let's pick up this call. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you, sir?
I'm all right, my man of God. How are you? I'm Somba calling from Ndola.
Mr. Somba from Ndola.
Yes, please.
Please go ahead and speak to the nation.
Yes, my question to President CHISHALA, as well as you, Pastor, is why haven't we done the agricultural think tank like Manawata proposed, or like other countries are doing? That's my question to the President there.
Madam President, the question is,
because
it's,
okay.
I must say that because he has also asked me, let me say what I've done in my own little way with my wife. You remember, Madam, we've been talking about agriculture and Zambians getting the piece of land. And my wife and I, by the grace of God, we are well connected. And there are people that wanted, even now, they still want to implement and fund the agriculture sector in Zambia. But you can't do it without the blessing of the president. This is why you saw, I think 2 years ago, I went to President Chagwalungu at State House and we presented this. The president was very happy. And before these people could fly in, COVID hit and what. Though later on I was good, Natural State House for brown envelopes, you know, But to answer Mr. Somba, in my own way, this is why Camnet TV has got a pool of Team Zambia, Camnet team, and we are still at it. The reason why I'm not talking about agriculture, because Apatuache promote Abantu and all this, it's gone out of way. So I'm just looking forward when we can announce to the people of Zambia when these investors who want to push in millions of dollars will come.
Okay.
But I've been quiet on that until the president, this government gives their blessing, then we'll move on. That's from my part.
Okay.
But from your part, Mr. Somba says, why haven't we got the agriculture think tank?
Yes. So I was, I think at the beginning of the program, I mentioned the fact that I worked on a consultancy for the World Bank and for government relating to the National Economic Diversification Task Force. And in there, we had a lot of committees, agriculture, tourism, and so on and so forth. And at the end of that project, we came up with a report. I still have a copy of the report and recommendations. Just for your own information, that Ndola Airport, the Simon Mans, it came from those discussions we used to have.
Oh, really?
Yes. So why would you have South Downs Airport, small little things? Why don't you do an international airport in between the towns? You know, the Copper Belt is around that area. Mufulira here, Kitwe here, Luansha here, Ndola here. So this, their CHISHALA area, it's in the middle of all of those towns. So have an international airport and make sure that they can all access. So it can be both international and local. So that one came through. But a lot of the things that we recommended just fall away, you know. We make all these good reports and then they just gather dust. They start to gather dust. So it boils down to political will, you know. So even if you are in the opposition and you say think tank, and then they just look at you, what do you do? You see? Yeah. So we hope that we are going to see things picking up.
My view is this, President KATEKA. You are not yet in power. And the UPND has got, let's say, 4 years.
Yes.
Okay. Would you share those brilliant ideas that you have with President HH for the sake
of the nation?
Or you would rather hold on to them and say, when I become president, implement?
So for those people who follow our statements as New Heritage Party, we will criticize and then we say, have you considered this, always? Because we are sharing, this is what we would do. Consider doing it this way. It's up to them to pick it up or not pick it up. But we always say, think about doing it this way, this way, this way.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, madam, is you making an appointment with President HH. Sorry again, the problem that I have from Dr. Kaunda to President HH, I think God has given me grace. I've had a personal relationship.
Okay.
Okay? Even President HH, we talk on phone.
Okay.
When I want to say hello, his mobile number, we talk. But I don't like reducing his office by when I've got a national issue, because I have access to his mobile number, and say, President, I want to see you. I think I have to respect protocol.
Yes.
By going through the established offices.
Channel.
That also gives respect to the presidency.
Yes.
But the problem, I said, are the people around the president. They think whoever gets closer to the president, he wants a job, or he is going to badmouth about somebody or what, which is a very bad mindset. But I'm talking about you as president of Heritage, president of PF, president of these political parties. You are not yet in power.
Yes.
He is in power. Why don't you come together and share these ideas? Because you are developing the nation. There are about 15, 16 political presidents if not 20. I can promise you, madam, not everyone with a political party will rule us.
No, no, no.
But they've got
definitely
great
not.
ideas. Why not just consider and say, let me help HH? It's not about HH, it's about the nation.
It's about the nation, and that is a very valid point. And one of these days, I'll do that.
Please do. I'm very passionate about Zambia.
About Zambia.
It doesn't matter what others talk about me. I'm a very focused person, and I want to live in a clean Zambia. Hello, good evening.
Hey, good evening.
Yes, sir. What's your name?
Man of the God, good evening.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm going from Mata, Patrick Muremfwe.
Patrick Mulemfwe.
Mkwai.
Please speak to the nation.
Kwene tembea mchana mbawani ndete wakateka bezu. Watungi mkende kontesa mbali ya charo.
Aha.
Ino yaba ni one Zambia, one nation.
Aha.
Mkwai. Umuntu na unapoache vingi vya kusana wimina zinapoache wakiliwake kanya bakiliwake vingi kwa pai kampeni yabo no kere vintu kuno wino ngaba naba champion yuko mazanja bonto bare sakija labena bantu bari kwa tomropa bari kwa tabje na kwa neno labena bari kwa price. Pero watonto kwenye kintu kimoja kuwaji labda mchawa kila mtanchi so beka refanchi wewe baza au tukweto mzambia ayetunga abantu kusana kwa mashiru kulikuba na bimbi so wewe baza tonto kwenye muno wino no kusunga abantu na Zambia ngeke juma dan one that one nation so
Nombero tamula chitang, elo tamula leka bamulemfwe. Elo tamula leka bamulemfwe. Are you there? If you mulela ndati batekanye bwino omwali bamashiru omwali babapuba n'abatuntulu mulela ndokweba ati shani bela abarashi ukuikata abantu kubatwala oku kuchitefi nangu finshi mulelanda
awe lifunge nombe funga kulali koka bwino na yesu wayantangira abantu ataperekeo kabesi awatale konke chego kawala panika nomba unamukia chiwetu umuntu wasumi nangwa sekinja bati ikira mtemucha pachari konke bati muntu wakwaleza mama keshwani
chishinka
so wakule wakwate kinja bati balibe kete nisuma pero vamutwala muntu koti yote sio ramgera yake ya so kurenga lea hivi atina cha mtango so like TV modern code ke mwaka unda kya yero na bonde wa siara kama bale ko ke vitu fia leo pinga yangu kama gashi
chishin
umutu wa unda mai ya mamugabu umutu wa ina unda ndika kuba na miro business man kuna kitu cha kwa tunaona kweli sasa kwa na business man guys ndio kitu kula cha bajaro to apa tungo na biachi de to ba gainde ke na ko gode na de to ai bajaro ke ga jinendi muntu baru tukuba para mchiki dina wana na watu wana kufunga chani kama hapo kufunga chacho ule mtu mkata mtoro kwa wewe unamukia hiyo swali mpokelera so akuja anacheka nyewe tunakora panchi one Zambia one nation kuna kula oko ndio umanta
twatasha bamulemfwe But President, I think for those who don't understand Bemba, I can just summarize it.
Yes.
That is appealing to the government. It seems like now we are going back where you are guilty until you prove yourself innocent.
Innocent, yes.
Not that you are innocent until you prove guilty. By you just come or to apokeingan because there's proceeds suspected to be of crime or to apokef. This is the law which is being applied. Not giving a chance first. Take him to court, prove your case, then confiscate.
Exactly.
This is what he's saying.
I think there is wisdom in what he's saying. The way things are being done seems to be upside down. You know, it's not the right way of going about it. You can't come and grab something from me and then you start investigating. Investigate and then grab it from me once you know that this is it. And unfortunately, this thing is dividing the nation. There is one of the things that at New Heritage we are saying is the time has come for us to call a spade a spade. There are certain things that we are not confronting as a nation, and we keep pushing them down, which is not good. You know, it's like somebody does something wrong to you, no, it's okay, but mukati mulebo ilafye. You know, so we need to confront certain issues as Zambians, like I said before, the Zambian agenda that we need to deal with, and this is one of them. Why are we going about doing it like this? Why not do it in the way it should be done? There are other issues that I don't want to go into that right now, but very soon we'll be talking about it. Other issues that are being done, and we are saying, why are we doing this? Because this is where we have come from. You know, it's causing a lot of division in the nation.
Sorry to ask about this. As president of a party, one of the people made a remark from outside to say, why is your president not moving in the official institutional house? What is your system? I said, I don't know. I have no legal backing. He says it can only be in Africa, because in America, where we come from, once a person wins, whether you are Trump, you've got billions, you've got to move into the White House. And that, when he said that, I don't know whether there is a law or there is no law. What is your take on that?
So this issue, a number of us have talked about it and said, look, when you are given a position, if you are a servant of the people, move into the servants' quarters. But we've talked about it a number of times, but the person, you know, we are given answers like, no, we are renovating, State House, it's below standard, etc., etc. Like you said, if you are the one who is not there, you can only talk about it, you can only advise. And look, a lot of people have complained because a lot of people are being people are being inconvenienced. You know, the amount of fuel, the police people who have to line up every day to line up the streets. But it seems that the president is adamant. So we'll see what happens there.
But is it constitutional?
I'm not too sure.
What does the Constitution say?
It says that they'll provide the State House.
You swear to uphold the Constitution.
The Constitution.
So there are lacunas in the way when
Most
the president
likely.
should do. Do you plan to formalize that in future?
I think we should formalize it, because now we are even hearing that they are going to build. They are going to ZESCO is going to put something there so that they can heighten the security. You know, so we are paying for the security at State House, and we are paying security for Community House, which is costing the country more. And yet we are
maybe, unless we speak to His Excellency himself, because some of the concerns which are highlighted, they come from social media, and usually I fear social media, especially talking about the security of the nation, of the president. Sometimes it can be very alarming, but I just want to end up on, is it constitutional? Is it in the constitution or what? I haven't read the constitution. Probably we'll ask the lawyers.
Yes, we should ask the lawyers, but the constitution actually says that this house will be provided.
Let's take this call before someone's... hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, sir, what's your name and where are you calling us from?
Hello?
You are through to National Matters, please.
Hello?
Yeah.
So,
Hello?
sorry, they've cut you off, sir. You were through. When you call, make sure that your volume on your TV set is low, because you kept on saying hello, hello, hello. We answered a long time ago, and there's a feedback, so the controllers switched you off. What were you saying, President?
I was saying that we definitely need to look at the Constitution to determine whether the president must stay in State House or not. Because then you've got legal backing for what it is. But the chances are that there's probably a lacuna there. And that's why he's doing what he's doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because he's the first president, by the way, to stay in his house for so long, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
And maybe there are some reasons, or constitutionally. There is this question that has come, Madam. Let me just read it. I don't have glasses. It's coming from Chifunto, I think. Hello, Pastor Victoria and Moses, of course. Good evening, Pastor Chiluba and the President CHISHALA KATEKA. Enjoying the program. My question to you, President CHISHALA KATEKA, is that does the National Heritage Party have any plan of looking into land ownership by the Zambian citizens and not foreigners? The foreigners being sold Zambian land, their governments do not permit, other governments do not permit foreigners to buy land, I think. The maximum can only be a house or a flat, like in China. They don't allow a foreigner, no matter how much money you have. You can't buy even a house in China. Why in Zambia? This is coming from the UK.
Okay. So
it's coming from the UK, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. If you look at our name, Heritage, we are saying the time has come for Zambians to partake of their heritage. And now if we keep selling our land, God is not making any more new land. So at some point, the land will finish. When we come into government, we are definitely going to look at land ownership. We've constantly, everywhere we go, we try to encourage the young adults. You know, even if it's customary, at least have something, because you need, you know, wealth does come from the land.
Absolutely.
So do that. So, and he's very correct. I can't go to China and buy 5,000 hectares of land.
And there is a
which
foreigner,
is what is happening here.
There's a foreigner who owns about 20-40 kilometers of land in South or East Luangwa.
Yes,
I just
like that.
got to the report. He's a foreigner.
Yes, like that. You know, one of it stems from that statement you made, that Twali Sula. It's we bend over backwards. Why do we bend over backwards? So as New Heritage Party, we have been saying we need to sit down, define ourselves, define exactly what we want. When people come, they must fit into us, into who we are. I can't come to your home and start making rules and regulation and demands in your home. You've been living in a certain way for some time. Then I come and I say, oh no, you know, for me to come, I can only, you know, sleep like this or bath like, no. I have to fit in. It's your house.
But the Bible, President, says a poor man's voice is never heard. A poor man's wisdom is never heard. That's
because we've decided that we are poor. We are not poor. We are the owners of the wealth. We have land. Yeah. We have fantastic weather. We have very good weather patterns. We have minerals. We are such a rich country. That's why I keep telling people, when we go to heaven at the end of the time, and we are going to God very excited, he'll just say, when I gave you so much, we'll even be ashamed.
Absolutely. Recently, my wife and I were on phone President KATEKA. I've done what I could and I'm doing what I can, not as Minister of Agriculture or Minister of Lands, but by the grace of God, we are well connected and we want to see this nation prosper. It will amaze you, President KATEKA. I was speaking to some government officials of a very big nation overseas. They're ready to give Zambia to the tune of $15 billion. I was on conversation with them. Do you know what I was told? Because they've heard we are doing agriculture. They say I should get the title deeds. Whoever wants money to be financed.
Yes, yes, yes.
I should give them, we should surrender land to 60 years.
Oh, I see, to them.
Yes, you have to surrender that. They will give you any money you want. $300 million, they will give it to you. But 60 years, they should own that. And I said to him, sir, I am now 60. That 30 years you are talking about, I'm 62.
You'll be Abraham.
I'll be gone long time. So I should leave my children. We argued, and I've talked to some international platforms who are ready to fund. Like you said, Umulando Agwavat Tetinji Sule, I can't sell my land.
No.
I know what, even if you give us 100 farmers in Zambia, Madam KATEKA, this program we introduce later, we can generate $50 billion without difficulties, at ease. And you know there is food shortage coming in the world.
Yes, it is.
Everyone is rushing here.
Yes.
But Zambians are selling land.
Yes,
you know.
yes. And not doing adequate farming.
Oh.
So, yeah.
No, we'll talk about this. Let me pick up this call. Then we'll go to text messages. Oh, brilliant discussion. Madam President, I totally agree with you. Most of the systems in our governance lacks proper guidelines, of course. May God's favor be with you in your political journey. Thanks, Pastor M. Chiluba and the Camnet TV staff. Derek Kaira in Kitwe. Derek Kaira is one of the Camnet TV viewers. They are wishing you God's blessing.
Thank you.
I'm sure you have a voter in Kitwe. Good evening, Madam KATEKA and Pastor. Madam KATEKA, I love the way you articulate issues. Madam, with the witch hunt we are witnessing, don't you think that even the minister who forced people to drink kachasu will be dragged to police once there is a change in government? John in Mansa, he's talking about Gary Nkombo to say he forced people to drink kachasu. Don't you think when there is change of government, you also be dragged to police?
Yes, but why can he not be dragged to police now? Why do we have to wait until afterwards? So if he's going to be dragged to court, he does not enjoy immunity. He's a human being just like you and I. The president has immunity, but Gary Nkombo does not have immunity. So if somebody wants to take him to court, they can do so now. He did break the law.
He broke the law.
Yes, so they can take it. But will they take him to court? No. Why? Because he's a minister. So if I went and I did the same thing, they will definitely take me to court. Why? Because I'm a nobody.
But he apologized.
No. Apologizing is not, you can be sorry and you can apologize, but you've broken the law. So
you have to pay for the...
So at least you go through the process, because what if I steal from you?
Then I apologize.
And then I apologize. Do you see what I mean? It's a crime. It's a crime.
Yeah. Let's have some more text, but this is a hot issue in Africa. Why don't we have mines owned by Zambians, like Asenseri gold mine, purely for Zambians from Kajila? This is from Kajila in Solwezi.
Yes.
Why don't we have gold mines like Asenseri? Let's read this one first also. Lovely evening to you, Mweva Fiashi, and President KATEKA. 2 questions. Number 1, Mamayo, do you see this issue of corruption be a successful issue, I think, when you see the way it is being fought by the new Dawn administration? 2, what is your comment on the fuel reduction? Is it genuine? From Chimumbwa Boniface. This is Baraston in Lusaka. The way they are fighting corruption, this government, and also the fuel issue, is it genuine?
I think we talked about the corruption fight and how it appears to be the wrong way around. It's the way it's being done seems to be the wrong way around. We have our law enforcement agencies who seem to get excited and make a lot of announcements. Then, there is nothing, at the end of it all. Why? What would be nice is if our law enforcement agencies would become professional, do the investigations, and then arrest the people who they find that they've got adequate evidence. But at the way we go about it, we make a lot of noise. Oh, we found this. Oh, I remember there was a time they said Bowman has got how many houses?
I don't know.
And then it came down to just a few, So it would really, really be good. And also, we are of the view that the a selective fight against corruption. We have talked about the $51 million fertilizer scandal. Not even one sentence from any of them.
The money which was paid, the fertilizer?
Yes, fertilizer was single-sourced. It's illegal. Especially that large amount of money should have gone to tender, but it was single-sourced. It was overpriced. There were a number of things that was not okay with that. In addition to that, the supplier was the husband of a minister. But not even a sentence, not even nangufe mube pushe shine hapa. Tetiba mi pushe. Yeah, I mean tetiba mi asuke. So when it comes to their corruption, they keep quiet. But when it comes to other people's corruption, they don't keep quiet. So, and that is what, let's look at Forest 27. Maibuksha, Forest 27, where they said, if we come and bulldoze everything down. What do we find? Some of the UPND ministers have interests in there. They've got property in Forest 27, and it has gone quiet.
So it has gone quiet.
Yes. So that's what we call selective. Because they are involved, then it's different. But because these ones are involved, then it's different. No, we will not win this battle like that. There must be the president himself said no sacred cows. So why do we have this selective, application of, yes. The second one,
fuel.
is the fuel. When you say, is it genuine, you will notice that the exchange rate was at 18 just a short while ago. It has moved down to 17. So that could account for that reduction. What I'm not happy with is the fact that they reduced petrol by 2 kwacha something, and then diesel by 58 ingwe. What's that?
It comes from another source.
If the foreign exchange rate goes up, the fuel will go up again. Yeah.
You know, the other thing, Madam KATEKA, it is very unfortunate. We are supposed to be united. We are supposed to be united. I want to live in a Zambia where people are tolerant to each other. And if you have broken the law, if I'm guilty, let the law take its due process. But where you just maybe hate me because I'm this and that, that issue of the fertilizer you are talking about, I've heard it going in the corners and the people talk about this, but I'm not privy to what happened. Also did this without but maybe the president and the government will answer someday. You know.
Yeah, probably someday. We hope that they will.
But let me go to our last remarks, Madam KATEKA. I would appeal that please make every effort that you meet President HH.
Okay.
Yeah, he's human. They are making mistakes, and also I think if all the opposition leaders come together in this nation and say, let's build Zambia, we will leave Zambia a better place.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
Not just having an idea. Nganawa President
They now unleash my plans.
capable of making a rainbow without the rain.
Yes.
Yeah,
No. I have met most of the presidents of opposition political parties. Very intelligent human beings. And I once read a book about Abraham Lincoln. And Abraham Lincoln formed a government of, what did they call them? It was a government of, like competitors. So here, all these political party presidents, and say you get into government and you make them cabinet ministers. I think we would have a very good government.
The only president I saw in Africa who did that was Nelson Mandela.
You have to be...
You know, he took, there was war between the Inkatha and the Zulus. And he took the Buteles, whose people were butchering the people.
Yes.
And he put him as Minister of Home Affairs.
No problem, yeah.
When he flew out of the country, they started killing each other. He called and said, Mr. President, he says, no. You are acting, you sort out that. That's how that problem finished.
Exactly.
You take even those people who don't like you, bring them near.
Yes. It's wisdom. It's wisdom, and also you have to be very confident in yourself. Because most people think, he will be backstabbing me, and it doesn't. It's not necessarily like that. I just find that we have wasted a lot of time in the last 8 months, even providing these checks and balances. Because if we put our heads together, we could achieve so much more. Yeah, but we don't put our heads together.
The other point that you brought, which is valid, which I feel should be, is to stop talking about PF, where you start acting like you are in the opposition.
Yes.
Prosecute people.
Yes.
That should not be, whoever has done wrong, prosecute them.
Yes.
Even those that are serving, prosecute them. But to start talking about how this one did that, how that one did that, and all this.
It's not helpful.
The Bible says he that puts his hands on the plow and starts looking behind is not fit of the kingdom. And it's very important. My only prayer is that President KATEKA, please come together, help HH. Yeah, drop these political lines. Let's build one Zambia, one nation.
Zambia, one nation.
Know, once we come together, you go, Mr. President, please do this. But Shimbakambwili Vaisa, please do this. This one comes not forming an alliance, political alliance like they did, no, but just for the sake of the nation. And when your time comes, madam, it will come. You saw that man who is saying that. I know he's your member.
No, yeah. I haven't seen any names of our members there.
No, I'm just saying he has appreciated so much.
Oh, I
and
see.
People sitting watching this program, you never know, next election you have 50 people more. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah. No, thank you very much. Yes, absolutely.
Your last words, ma'am, as we conclude.
I have one thing that has been on my mind for some time, and it's to the Zambians, what I was talking about. Can we build this nation together? Can we have what we are calling the Zambian agenda? I explained to people that, you see, if we are going to put Zambia first and not a political party first, it means even if a New Heritage Party has got a candidate who is not a good candidate, but there's a better candidate from another party, I would rather you put that other candidate from another party. Because, you see, let me tell you why presidents become proud. And so when people vote according to party lines, so you are not voting for the best person, you are voting for the party. It means this President X will come into power and you have 120 MPs. Of course he's going to be proud because he will start pushing through party agenda. And likewise, if this party comes in and they've won based on party lines, but if we vote the best people in and then vote the best president in, we will find that Parliament will be more balanced. This president will not necessarily have 120 or whatever, but they will be president, and they will start to push, because, you know, the people are not really opposition, but they are opposition, but they are more balanced. This president cannot begin to push a party agenda, because these people will hold this president accountable.
Yeah.
If we can get to that, then we'll know that Twakula Nomba, we are moving in the right direction. So please, Zambians, let's begin to push the Zambian agenda above party agendas.
I like that.
Yes.
The Zambian agenda.
Yes, the Zambian agenda.
Kamnet TV will join that.
Please, please.
We push the Zambian agenda.
That's right.
Absolutely. As we close, madam, I want to canvass that you start supporting a soccer team, Kamnet Stars.
Okay.
You may not be a football fan, but...
I support Nkana.
Oh, you support
When you
Nkana.
say I'm not a football fan, I support Nkana. I support the Gunners, Arsenal. Yes. So
put Kamnet Stars there.
Okay.
You like the boys.
Okay.
The Lord is helping us to put a team from the whole Zambia.
Okay.
They are coming, and July they're supposed to be in the States to play the club under 19.
Okay.
There's Argentina, Brazil, from Africa I think. There is only Ghana, Nigeria, and Zambia through Kamnet. And the boys are doing well. Pray for us.
Okay.
And pray also that we export a lot of these boys into the European markets.
That will be good.
Yeah.
That will be good. So when you go to Kenya, you find kids running all over the place because they've seen that they produce very good runners.
Absolutely.
It's the same thing in Ethiopia.
Even
you
Ethiopia,
see kids running a lot, and Zambia, it should be like that. So
And
they must be encouraged.
That's the concept we have taken.
Okay.
We are receiving boys from Zimba, from Chipata.
Okay.
They hear CAMNET. They come at Kablonga Secondary School.
Oh, for
Those
training.
are the grounds we are using here.
All right. Well
So
done.
We are doing our best.
Well done.
Thank you, Madam.
Thank you so much.
Well, dear CAMNET TV viewers, this is how far we could come. On behalf of my wife, the CEO of this great station, I'm thankful to President CHISHALA KATEKA, very knowledgeable, qualified lady, and very sober, without arrogance in her speech. And I'm sure you have heard something for yourself. Let's have better leaders. Let's work together. The Zambian agenda. Don't look at HH like your enemy. You look at the PF like your enemies. We are from the same blood. On behalf of the Healing Word Ministries International, the church that my wife and I pastor, on behalf of the CAMNET crew, the young men and women who are making this station a force to reckon with, I want to thank them. And I want to thank you, CAMNET TV viewers. You are just a blessing. Remember, you were born for greatness. Keep watching CAMNET TV. And CAMNET TV is not just another channel. Bye-bye.